Hi, um, I'm Mom. I know that I'm not normally on the channel very much. Um, I've come up with kind of a cool idea. Well, I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting way for me to introduce myself to some of our viewers. Um, so I'm a really big movie person, and I've been a very long time fan of Cinefix. Shout out to Cinefix. I will hashtag them in the description. Um, and I've been watching their recent current podcast based on the top 100 movies of all time. And it's interesting because in watching them create this or move through the process of talking about this list, this discussion sort of came to the forefront, which is the difference between best and favorite. And I found this to be particularly interesting because I think it gives me the opportunity to do something sort of interesting, which is to use something that I love, which is movies, to do something that I kind of dislike to do, which is to put myself out of my comfort zone, kind of challenge myself. Now, I am a creature of habit, and as such, I usually don't challenge myself, and I don't tend to go too far out of my comfort zone. But it occurred to me that this is not a great example for me to set for my children, because we grow from our challenges. And so I thought it would be an interesting way for me to set a challenge for myself, hopefully doing something that will help me to grow, but like I said, also to help kind of introduce me to our viewership, since I'm normally not on camera. Now, I have decided to create my own top 100 list of movies, and then create a series of videos on the channel to kind of like piece by piece introduce my list to our audience. Now, the thing about this is that I actually think it's really interesting because you can really get to know somebody through their taste in movies. And this is something that is going to be personally challenging for me in a few ways, because there are some personal habits of mine that will be challenged throughout this project. The first of which, and most obvious one, is my tendency to just avoid being in front of the camera. Chalk that up to low self-esteem and general shyness. But obviously my doing this is going to challenge that. Also, my inability to ever pick anything that's a favorite of any category. This, I would say, is just indecision, but realistically speaking, is probably rooted in something deeper, maybe a fear of being judged. I don't know. But it's something that my whole life I've never been able to just pick something and call it a favorite. And it's interesting because those two things were very clear to me up front. Like, I knew right away going into this project that those were two things that I was going to have to deal with. Interestingly, a few other things have kind of come to the surface that I was not expecting. So another one is my own sense of like self and identity, especially as a cinephile. And we can call that one pride or arrogance, because I really, once thought that I had a little bit more sophisticated of a sense of my interest and taste in movies. And in going through making this list, because I approached it from a very honest perspective of my favorite movies versus the movies that I actually consider to be objectively the best movies, it made it pretty clear to me pretty quickly that actually my taste in movies is quite a bit more pedestrian than I was originally thinking that it was. So that challenge is, this like sense that I used to have about myself. But the other interesting thing that came up from this is that my other bad habit is a tendency to beat myself up. So where ordinarily I might have been not only embarrassed by that revelation, but have made myself feel bad about it, I now realize that it's okay for me to accept my silly, idiosyncratic, eccentric list as my own, and it's okay that it's different and not part of the cinephile intelligentsia that I once maybe potentially thought I was a part of. It's just who I am, and that's okay. And because who I am is specifically a part of a family and a group of people who love me and accept me the way that I am, and whether or not they judge me for it, I love them back just as much. And what's really great about this is that this being like our YouTube channel is that is the world that we invite you to be a part of, in a few minutes at a time increments. But I will be posting a new video every few days that will reveal a little bit of my list at a time, basically in order to try and keep the videos short. So, it's 100 movies. So that's basically it. I just wanted to let you guys know what I'm thinking about doing. Hopefully somebody will be interested and will watch. But thank you all for being here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.